It was supposed to be a simple Thursday morning routine. Do your morning chores, load the washer, grab a cup of tea, and by the way, replace the pencil batteries in the biometric lock that was starting to beep low battery. Instead, it became a masterclass in how the universe conspires to turn minor inconveniences into full blown domestic disasters. The trouble began, innocently enough, with a biometric lock that had developed opinions. The pencil batteries in the door lock of my upstairs apartment had died, and like any reasonable person, I had bought high quality replacements. But the lock, apparently a connoisseur of battery brands, rejected them with electronic disdain. Fine, I thought, sliding the old batteries back in. They still had some juice left in them. While I was at it, I decided to multitask. I switched on the water purifier and began filling the 3-liter water dispenser that sat on a small counter with no drain. The gentle hum of filtering water filled the room as I set a 2-minute timer on my watch. Plenty of time to run downstairs to my other apartment and find a different brand of batteries that might appease the temperamental lock. I bounded down the 2 flights of stairs, rummaged through the drawers, and triumphantly returned with the alternative batteries clutched in my hand. The timer hadn't gone off yet. I was making good time. That's when the lock decided to exact its revenge. My thumb pressed against the biometric scanner. Nothing. No lights, no beeps, no signs of electronic life whatsoever. The realization hit me like cold water. In my haste to replace the batteries, I must have inserted them backwards. The lock was completely dead, and somewhere beyond that door, water was steadily filling a dispenser that would soon overflow into a floor with nowhere for the water to go. Panic crept up my spine. I frantically pressed my thumb against the lifeless scanner once again and again. I should have tried the phone app, I think, but in my rising anxiety, rational thoughts were quickly drowning. Back downstairs I raced, tearing through drawers in search of the manual override key I was certain I had carefully labeled and stored some time ago. Instead, I found a collection of mysterious keys that all looked vaguely promising. Back upstairs, breathless now, I tried each one. None fit. The lock mocked me with its silence, while behind the door, I could practically hear the water ticking towards disaster. The cascade of locked out logic began. My bike keys were inside the locked apartment. My office keys were inside the locked apartment. The spare house keys, which were in my office drawer, the keys to which were, you guessed it, inside the locked apartment. It was a perfect circle of inaccessibility, like a puzzle designed by someone with a particularly cruel sense of humor. In desperation, I called my colleague, already feeling guilty as she was dealing with her own medical situations at home. She graciously agreed to bring the spare bike and office keys to me. But even as I made the call, another thought struck me. The overhead tank. If I could stop the water at the source? I rushed downstairs to find the watchman, a kind soul with whom I had built a good rapport over the years. Could he possibly go up to the terrace and turn off the stopcock to the overhead tank? He nodded without hesitation. Some people are simply angels in disguise. While he climbed up to the roof, I made one last desperate search through the downstairs drawers. This time, my fingers closed around a small plastic Ziploc bag I had somehow missed before. Inside, beautifully labeled with the apartment number, was the manual key. I took those stairs 3 at a time. The key slid into the lock like it was meant to be there, because of course it was. The door swung open to reveal my living room transformed into a shallow lake. Water stretched from the counter across the tile floor, creeping under the sofa, under the shoe cabinet, and into every corner of the furniture. It had claimed its territory. And then, because the universe has impeccable comic timing, the moment I stepped inside, the biometric lock cheerfully beeped back to life. Its little blinking as if to say, "Oh, you're back. Want to try your fingerprint now?" The aftermath was a soggy meditation on Murphy's Law. Armed with towels and a mop, I began the great extraction, moving furniture and discovering that water has an impressive ability to find every crevice and hiding spot in a home. Behind the couch, under the wooden cabinet, around table legs, half a bucket worth of water had to be coaxed out of its new hiding places, and I'm sure I didn't get to every single drop of it. My body, already aching from a recent bout of viral flu, protested every bend and stretch. By the time the last puddle was mopped and the furniture returned to its proper place, a sharp catch in my lower back announced itself as a cherry on top of this particular morning's sundae. 15 minutes, that's all it took to transform a simple battery replacement into a domestic adventure story. As I finally stood in my restored living room, dispenser properly filled, in fact, way more than properly filled, and lock smugly functional, I couldn't help but laugh. Some mornings you get coffee and toast. Other mornings you get a masterclass in chaos theory, complete with a flooded apartment and a sore back. At least I'll have a story to tell.